The biologist I chose to investigate for this project is Dr. Kaeli Swift. Dr. Swift is a biologist with a PhD in avian ecology from the University of Washington. Dr. Swift grew up in Seattle and was always fascinated by bugs, the dirt, and all of the critters she would find playing outside as a kid. Despite her fascination with the natural world, she struggled a lot in school. She was diagnosed with dyslexia and ADHD and was moved to a school for kids with learning disabilities. In her new environment, she still struggled, but eventually she developed skills for managing her disabilities. She became even more interested in studying wildlife because it got her out of the classroom where she felt trapped. As someone with ADHD myself, who also loves science, I can very much relate to Dr. Swift's process of forging her own accommodations by selecting studies that put her outside and allowed her to focus on the things that she was genuinely passionate about. What she's been able to accomplish outside of the standard classroom is really inspirational to me and definitely motivates me to pursue research. Dr. Swift is passionate about science communication and increasing the number of women, LGBTQ, and people of color in scientific fields. On the rare occasion that she's not working on or talking about her research, she enjoys spending time outside in nature. Most of Dr. Swift's research up to date is focused on the behavior of crows and specifically their interactions with dead crows. The first paper she published on this topic is called Occurrence and Variability of Tactile Interactions Between Wild American Crows and Dead Conspecifics. Put more simply, she studied crow funerals. A fun fact about studying crow funerals is that when researchers are doing exploratory research on crows, they have to wear molded masks. Crows can recognize human faces, so to avoid being recognized and hence potentially affecting a behavior change, Dr. Swift and her researchers wear these creepy-looking masks. Swift's most recent publication is focused on the brain activity behind crows' interactions with the dead. In order to conduct this study, researchers captured crows and let them assimilate to a captive environment. Then the crows were given FDG, which allows researchers to see what parts of the brain are using the most glucose under a PET scan and thus are most active. During the PET scans, crows were shown other dead crows as well as dead sparrows. In this study, researchers found that crows who are shown dead crows have the most brain activation in areas associated with higher order decision making, specifically the NCL. However, areas of the brain associated with social behaviors and fear learning were not activated. As seen in this figure, NCL regions of the crow's brains were responsive to dead crows, as represented by the green dots. The FDG uptake for this stimulus was between 1,050 and 1,200 on both the left and the right. This is contrasting the dead sparrow stimulus, shown in red, which elicited a lesser response, at times equivalent to the crow's response to an empty room. The conclusion that was drawn from this is that behavioral responses to the dead by crows are not guided by fear or social norms for the species, but instead logical processes. While Dr. Swift continues to be fascinated by crows, she has recently become postdoc research on the Tinian monarch bird. After World War II, habitat destruction rendered the monarchs to an endangered species, but they have since been delisted. Dr. Swift is now studying the reproductive success of this bird in Tinian, and she will be there until 2024. Dr. Swift has contributed a great deal of research to niche field while also inspiring other young scientists through TED Talks and interviews. Her advice to newbies in the field? Science is a lot messier than you'd expect. Here are my references. And here are my photo citations.